We are officially recording as of right now.
Oh my God.
Oh man, we are hopping into an Avatar podcast.
I'm doing a podcast.
We are doing a podcast. Welcome to the Cabbage Fellowship.
Woo!
For anybody listening out there, I've seen all of Avatar, but Steph has not.
I've never even seen a clip from the show.
Aside from what you watched, right?
Aside from episode 1, which I have now seen. Yes.
And you were saying a few minutes ago that you made a list of everything that you had never, or everything that you knew of about Avatar.
I did. And I did this before I watched the first episode. So everything I know about Avatar, The Last Airbender, before watching, everything that I have absorbed from various sources. Okay, I know the phrase "until the Fire Nation attacked" because I've seen that in memes and stuff.
Very pop culture.
They did that in the intro, and I'm like, I know that one.
You're like, I know it. That's it.
Okay, I know that there are 4 nations: fire, water, earth, and air. And that there are benders who can manipulate their respective elements. And that, from what I can tell, the personalities of the members of these nations somewhat reflect the nature of their element. The Avatar is a person who can manipulate all of the elements.
No,
I think there's so only one at a time, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure what the Avatar's purpose is, but this series is about a kid. I think, okay, I didn't know his age when I made this list, but I knew he was a kid, and I think his name is Aang with a double A.
Yep.
Right.
And you're already on the right path there too, and it's not Ong. So
Oh. Good, it shouldn't be on.
I know. Well, let's.
Who does that?
The M. Night Shyamalan, whatever his name is, with the film that we don't speak about.
I have heard terrible things about that film, but I wouldn't know. Maybe after I finish the series, I'll have to watch that movie just so I can appreciate how terrible it is.
I've made it 21 minutes. I've never actually seen I've never seen anything past that 21 minutes.
Is it real? It's that bad.
It's that bad. And yeah, the Avatar fandom is pretty adamant about this film.
Now I kind of want to watch it.
We'll do after we finish the whole series, we'll do a movie watch, and then we'll just talk about it as an episode.
Yes, I would like that. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay. I know there's a guy who really, 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 really loves his cabbages, and his shit keeps getting wrecked. I don't know by whom, but I am preemptively pissed off about it because that guy should just be left alone with his cabbages.
Yeah, the cabbage merchant. We'll find out about him at a later episode. I don't really actually know when the first time he pops up, but it's definitely a reoccurring thing.
We are going to have to make a big deal out of it whenever he does show up because we are the Cabbage Fellowship.
Yep.
He's like our mascot. Okay, I know because you showed me the other day that there are a bunch of weird mashup animals, like turtle ducks, and I had to look at my notes for that.
A lot of the animals in this world are kind of like mesh animals. There's a few that aren't.
Like the flying bison isn't really like a combination of things. It's just
so we met Appa in the first episode.
Yeah, he's cute,
and he's actually on my mug here. I know you can't see it because we're doing two different web things, but I'm holding it up.
I'm talking to myself right now.
And then it says "yip yip" on the back.
Oh, that's cute. Okay, I know one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know there is an uncle who loves tea. I don't know whose uncle it is, or I didn't before I watched the episode, but I knew that there was a man who loves tea and that he was somebody's uncle.
Yep.
And that's it.
That was your.
I really thought about it, and that's all I know.
That was your extent of the Avatar verse.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, so let's kind of just dive right into episode 1, The Boy in the Iceberg.
Do it. I got my tea. This is specifically for the purpose of this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I don't drink tea. This one was called White Christmas. It's peppermint, something else, and ginger. I don't remember, but it's hot water, and that's about what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait till we get to a quote about hot leaf juice later on in the episode in the series. I'm
writing that down right now.
What am I drinking? I'm drinking. It's also like a peppermint. It's a chocolate peppermint. And I normally don't.
Chocolate in yours?
Yeah, I normally don't go for like chocolatey teas. I
need to up my tea game.
But it was kind of just all I had in the bag form for the moment because we were kind of rushing.
Yeah. Okay. For the record, it was about 5 days ago that Travis was like, "Hey, we should do a podcast about this." Now we're recording an episode.
We're actually recording episode 1. We have what do we have? We have a Facebook page. We have a TikTok, Twitter, we have a Discord.
We do.
What am I missing?
And that's all
Instagram.
Travis.
Instagram.
By the way.
No, it's not all me. It was
I did none of that.
I did some of it.
Kara.
Yeah, it was Kara.
Who volunteered to be our social media manager because she is an incredible person and really good at this stuff. So yeah. I'm fine with her.
Which is awesome.
Doing
I'm totally on board too because I've got so much stuff going on that if we have a hype person out there, that's great.
Yeah. So I'm not good at
that. I'm good at like making things and like setting things up and getting everything kind of ready, and then from there it's like okay, if somebody else could like do that, that's great. I mean, I'll do it, but like, that's just cool.
I'm not even good at that stuff though. All I did was show up today.
And
I have broken headphones, and I had to move the desk, and really prepared.
And there we are. It looks like you got some of your maps and stuff behind you, though, right?
I do.
Heck yeah.
Everything you can see behind me right now, well, aside from
it's like slightly cut off.
These are all cross stitches.
Excellent.
And this one, Thorin's map from the Hobbit.
Like the one right behind me.
Yeah. I cross stitched this one.
Oh, you made that
was
one.
Not my own pattern, but these other 3 were 3 that I designed myself.
That's awesome. Heck yeah. For anybody listening out there, you should definitely go follow Click and Tuna on Instagram and check out some of the art. It's in our link tree. Yeah. That's the other thing we made. Link tree. We have a link tree now, which has all of the links on there. So yeah, anyways, welcome to our Cabbage Fellowship podcast. We will be kind of diving into all sorts of things Avatar related, teas, and just kind of like, cozy hangouts, just chatting.
Could do that.
Let's see. So for me, having watched this series actually a few times at this point, I was able to kind of capture or look at more of the smaller things, that might be like kind of overlooked. And for like a first time viewer, there might be a couple of things in my notes that you might be like, oh, hey, I didn't really capture that. And it's not something that I was able to see before, except for during my rewatch. Now I'm like not paying much attention to the story, and I'm kind of looking more at the themes and the kind of the background kind of stuff that's happening.
I'm just trying to absorb the broad strokes of the story here.
So do you want to start? You want to start off with some of your notes and see where you...
Sure, I have so many questions, and I don't know if you're allowed to answer them for me, or if we should just wait and let me see what the series answers.
If it's a question that I can answer, I'll answer it. If it's something that might be like very story like driven or something that will get revealed later, I'll just say it's coming.
That's fair. Okay. Is the Avatar always one of the air nomads?
No.
Okay. That's interesting. So So they were so convinced that the new reincarnation of the Avatar would be an air nomad just because the last one was?
No. I was like nodding and then I was like, no. So just so you can kind of follow along easier, and it'll get kind of brought up more throughout the show. The intro, if you listen to the intro, and I have a point about the intro too. So the introduction that we watched, where it was like Katara's talking
until the Fire Nation attack, yeah.
And she's like, long ago, my grandma, blah 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 blah. She was basically narrating everything that's happened in like the past 100 years. So this intro on this episode is actually longer than all of the rest. Because it's kind of
special intro.
It's like setting up the story. So we get a more minimalized introduction every episode. When you watch it, you'll notice it's not as like long as this one. So that's pretty cool. It's just a little thing that I never quite caught, watching the series beforehand. But if you watch the where she says water, earth, fire, air, that is the actual order of the avatars. So when they die,
so it goes, it's like cycles. It cycles through the elements. It's a
cycle, and it goes through the elements. Yeah. So the reason
wasn't the last avatar wasn't the one who came before, wasn't he an air nomad?
No.
It
was Aang. Aang is the air nomad. So the one before that would be fire. And there'll be some more story plot stuff happening down the road for there. But just so that's kind of on your mind, that the
cyclical there.
That is the order of in which the avatar is reincarnated. And the avatar is kind of like he or she gets reincarnated and comes back to life and continues to try to create balance in the world. That's kind of the overall goal of the avatar, is to bring peace and balance.
That's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the intro thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Clearly, no one, and not even Aang, knows that he is the avatar yet, right?
It
doesn't seem like anyone knows about it.
Nope. So basically in this episode, the boy in the iceberg, he's been frozen for at least 100 years. And
sucks.
Yeah. So some of my notes were like, can you imagine like if you were frozen for 100 years in an iceberg and then woke up and you don't really know where or like how long it's been? And I think he said in this episode that he's like, I don't know, like a couple of days,
Yeah.
And she's like, and Katara was like, no, it's actually been like 100 years. And then he's just still not quite believing it too much,
Oh, yeah,
like, I want to go penguin sledding.
Off the wall. Okay, so later on, I wrote down where he doesn't even seem concerned about, like, certainly he lived with other people before. He's a kid, right? Like, does he have a family? Is he concerned about them at all? Because they don't seem to have crossed his mind.
I think he's just kind of still in kind of like a slight denial, where it's just like, oh no, it hasn't been it's only been a couple of days, But we do, I think in this episode, we got that flashback a little bit where he's like in the storm and it goes down crashing into the water.
Doesn't he assume that people would be concerned about him, wonder where he went?
I would think so, yeah.
I mean, he thinks he's been gone for days.
Yep. Yeah. But we kind of get that flashback. It's kind of like, well, what happened, because he's flying down in a storm, and then we first get to see this state where he's kind of all like glowing and frozen in this iceberg. So we're like, okay, so
he created the iceberg around
himself. Yeah. Just as like
created an air bubble, then it froze around it.
A form of protection. Yeah, I think.
Right. Funky.
Yeah. So he's the avatar, and we We know that he's the air nomad because he's flying around. So he had only been the avatar for, I think he's like what, like eight or nine maybe. So
no, he specifically said he was 12.
Oh, he's 12. Okay. Yes.
Because he said,
I don't know how.
Said something about being, do I look 112 years old?
Do I look like a 112-year-old man to you? Yeah.
See, I'm paying attention.
Yep. So yeah, so he's, he before he froze his time, he was only like a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So whether he knew he was the Avatar or he's not the Avatar, he's just kind of still in that kid mindset of things.
Well, he told Katara that he's not a waterbender and that they should find someone who is to teach her. So if he were the Avatar, or if he knew he were the Avatar, wouldn't he know that he could also bend water?
Yes. The Avatar's goal, I think it's in the intro, is to master all four elements, whether that takes you 10 years or it takes you 60 years, you don't quite know.
Okay.
Yeah. So I love the dynamic that we first see with Katara and Sokka. Like the first thing we see is them just on a ship,
being an asshole teenage boy.
yeah. There's just, they're on a boat and she's like, look, I'm water bending, and he's like, that's great. And she's in the background.
I have three brothers, and he's very realistic.
We first get the first look at water bending, and as Sokka says, what do you say, the magic, he was calling it magic.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, your magic, whatever water.
I didn't realize that bending was such an uncommon and weird sort of thing.
I think it's setting up the so bending is pretty common, but in their little village, it's not.
Their tiny village. Where's the genetic diversity in this village? I'm concerned about that.
Right. But we do get a setup of war. There's a lot of war happening. There is what was it? I gotta check my notes here somewhere in here because I'm kind of bouncing around on my notes. So we get a lot of war right at the start. Sokka is like drilling these kids, like, you got to get in line, and then it immediately cuts to Zuko, who's like doing his like drills.
Yeah, and stuff. Scarface dude.
Yeah. Scarface dude. What did you think of Zuko and Iroh when you first saw him?
Oh, that's the uncle's name. Okay, I wrote down Uncle T Guy.
Uncle T Guy, yeah.
In my notes.
I'm trying my best not to like spoil things or anything like that, but like I will slip and just say names before like we're introduced if that doesn't bother you.
I mean, I've seen the character. I think it's okay for me to know his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Uncle T Guy. He's like, okay, we can do this, but first I have to eat.
Yep.
And I vibe with that.
He's very
it's very chill.
We're getting a lot of different characters kind of happening all at once in like a 20-minute span. You're getting your comedic relief, Sokka, the very serious Katara, and Aang.
First line being about penguin sledding.
Which another animal that I don't think is a mix, right?
No, it had like a cat seal type face and 4 wings.
Interesting. Okay. We're gonna get to you eventually, just doodling all these little animals.
I should. I said they must have had just like this giant bag with animals on little slips of paper, and you reach and you draw it. Okay, here's a kangaroo and a bear.
A kangaroo bear, yeah.
Yes, that's just what they did.
Yeah.
Okay. I like the firebenders. I think they are objectively the coolest benders because the waterbenders can manipulate the water in their environment. The airbenders use the air, which is everywhere, and that's fair. But firebenders can just like generate fire via channeling this energy and generate fire, because that's badass, and I like that.
And that gets brought up down the road as well, of like how
that's important.
Well, kind of. I mean, it's just like how things are being like you said, like generated. Fire comes from like within, and they're able to just do it, whereas like Katara needs water. Like she absolutely needs water to be around her. If she doesn't have water anywhere, then she can't waterbend, you know.
It has to be liquid water.
It has to be liquid water. Yeah.
Okay.
Although
interesting.
There's other elements and stuff that come into play down the road as well.
Really?
Yeah. It gets pretty crazy with the bending.
Firebenders seem the coolest. Scarface,
Zuko. Yeah, Zuko.
He's super intense. Not really liking him so far. But Uncle T guy,
Iroh.
really chill. Okay, Iroh. I should start calling him.
No, you can call him Uncle T guy.
T guy,
Uncle
forever.
You know.
Ooh, I have another question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I have two questions. Where are all the other airbenders? Where are the other not necessarily airbenders, where are all the other air nomads? Why is Aang the last one left?
I can't answer that.
Okay.
It's a good question. We will come back to that though, for sure.
But it's a weird thing. It's an unusual thing that he's the only one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's fair. And I wanted to know, where are all the other people in the world? Like, if the water tribe has only 2 tribes, like at the North and South poles, why do they live in the coldest places? There's water everywhere. But like, are these 4 tribes, nations? They each have a different categorization. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are there other people in the world that don't belong to any of these nations, or is this it?
Yeah, there's definitely benders kind of all around the world in a way. They usually kind of stick to their, at this point in time, they stick to their like
ethnicity.
What's that?
Ethnicity? Is that a fair term?
Yeah, like they kind of stick to their kingdoms or their lands, you know? Like this is like, these are where like the water North and South tribe are, and not all of the North and South tribes are waterbenders. Like as we kind of saw in this episode, Katara is like kind of a, you know, you can be part of the Earth Kingdom or part of the Fire Nation and not be a firebender or an earthbender. It's just it's just kind of one of those like special magic, I guess, kind of like if you think Harry Potter with muggles, you know, like it's kind of in that land of things.
That's a helpful analogy. But there aren't like every human in this world belongs to one of these 4 nations, tribes, kingdoms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. It's not a very,
that was a question I had.
Like compared to like our world, it's not a very big world. It doesn't seem like,
I got that impression from the world map. Yeah,
the world map is kind of it's kind of small. But there's a lot of stuff in it. And then we also have down the road, you know, we'll talk more once we start learning more about the spirit realm. So that's
a spirit realm.
There's the spirit
realm. Writing that
down. Yeah, so just looking kind of at my notes here, we got a little bit of the kalimba, which is an instrument.
Yeah.
Is my kalimba around here somewhere? I was so busy getting prepped for our thing here, and I don't know.
Scrambling to set things up because we were like, hey, we have time right now. Let's just go do this.
Oh, let me just knock everything over.
I can't see it, but I'll try to imagine it.
Yeah. So for anybody who is watching and not listening, because I know we're going to have like a YouTube thing set up, this is a kalimba. It's like a little thumb piano.
can't see it.
Can you hear it? I don't know if it's like actually playing through.
Oh, that is so cool.
Now it's been a minute since I've played this, so I'm just like, man, I don't remember. I used to be able to play Avatar's Love, and so I think like what we were talking about is like I'm gonna try to record a little like intro for our podcast, which I think would be super cool.
Yes, you have to.
But yeah, you get this instrument playing, I think when they're kind of riding on the back of Appa when he's not flying and he's swimming. But we will hear this. It goes all the way up, like super high notes. We will get this kind of instrument playing a lot throughout the show, it's this show is one of the reasons why I bought a kalimba. So, yeah, fun instrument. I got lots of little notes here, like the Pokemon theme and Zelda, and just all these different things. Yeah, what was it? It was like, let me see if I can just do this really quick. Wait. Nope. Nope. I'm not gonna get it on the spot. But yeah, we'll play around with it. Maybe I'll post stuff in our Discord and whatnot.
Yes, and we need a theme song.
Yeah, well, I can play the Avatar. So there's a moment in this show, and there's a really sad song, and I'm not gonna like spoil anything about anything like down there. So I'm like, I can play that song, or I can play the Avatar's Love one, which I think is kind of the more common song. Yeah, so we get like a really good look at Uncle Iroh and his nephew Zuko. Iroh is definitely a firebender, part of the Fire Nation, trying to teach his nephew like the proper ways of control, whereas Zuko is
could use a little control.
Is more intense. He's more kind of all in, like I need all of this all at once, and again. Whereas
so a dumb teenage boy, just in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it kind of just sets up the dynamic for the show. Like, we're going to be seeing a lot of, I think, these different groups here, with Aang, Sokka, and Katara, and then Iroh and Zuko. And this is the first time that we hear Zuko mention his honor. So keep
I'm guessing that's a big thing.
It's a big thing. I
get that impression from him.
He's just like, everyone's always joking, honor. And there's a GIF somewhere down the road as well where I think there's like fire in front of Zuko or whatever, and he's like, his arms are flailing, and somebody put the words honor like in there, like he's on fire. I'm just like, it's not a spoiler or anything. It's just literally a funny GIF that somebody made. But yeah, so we kind of get this, it's more story setup, and we're kind of just getting, we don't really know why he's looking for the Avatar. We don't know what his end goal is. We know he's trying to restore his honor.
Literally the Avatar's job to stop the Fire Nation in their war, then I can see why the Fire Nation would want to control the Avatar.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Or stop him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you kind of caught this little reference. At least to me, it just, when they were kind of going into the Fire Navy ship with all the booby traps and stuff.
Yeah, that was smart.
It reminded me of the Lion King a lot. When they're in the elephant graveyard, if you remember that scene at all.
Do I remember that scene?
It just was like, we're like, oh, we're not supposed to go in there. We're not supposed to go in there,
but it's dark and creepy and cool, and we're not supposed to be afraid.
Yeah. And then they said,
Tara was right.
Yeah.
The girl was right.
I have a feeling that you're gonna really like Katara a lot.
I like her already.
what was it? Was it Sokka? I think Sokka was the one who said, "If you want to be a bender, you have to let go of fear." Or no, that was Aang. That was Aang.
That was Aang.
Aang who said that to Katara.
You're a small child. What the fuck do you know?
Yeah, but it's just very much like Simba trying to lure, like, yes. Hey, Nala, let's go into this elephant graveyard over here. Like, yep. Then the quote, what was it? Danger. I laugh in the face of danger.
Yeah.
So it was just a very similar thing that I noticed when I was watching this. I'm like, I wonder if they kind of just drew inspiration from things like that. Yeah. But yeah, I know that there was only a 20 something minute episode, but it just, to me, it felt like it was like, hey, we just met, but let's go like run into like this Fire Navy like ship, like, I don't know what's going on. Like, sure.
See, she shouldn't let herself get talked into this crap.
Yeah. And then penguin sledding.
The penguin sledding, okay.
Yeah.
Looks fun. However, they just kidnap these penguins and just go sliding miles and miles down the ice and then just leave them. Bye, guys. Have fun finding your way home.
Have fun. Like, see ya.
Irresponsible.
Right. So did you did you
I doodled Aang.
Oh, there it is. Heck yeah. I love it. So your first impression of Aang, how do you feel of him as an actual character? Because when I watched it the first time, I like everybody. So to give people kind of a little bit of like a background history, I was a little bit late into the Avatar fandom as well. I first watched it in 2014, I think. But this show came out in, I think, 2006. I think that's when it came out. And I grew up and I watched people. I had seen it like on Nickelodeon kind of here and there, and like I kind of knew a little bit about it. There was a kid with an arrow on his head and stuff like that.
I knew about the arrow thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but when I watched these first couple of episodes, I was just like kind of like annoyed at Aang, like a lot of the times, just because he's just kind of annoying, like, at least to me.
He's a 12-year-old boy.
But yeah, you have to put that into perspective, that he's like a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I was watching these first 3 episodes, and I just remember thinking like, man, like, what does everybody see in this show? And like, it took me like, and you have to get into it a little bit farther, and then it's like, oh man, like the writing, the story, like where everything goes it's absolutely nuts. So
yeah, see, I'm willing to give this a fair shot. I know enough people whose opinions I respect, who absolutely love this show, that I'm willing to. I'll buy into this. We'll see where it goes.
I think this is going to be a cool, fun thing with somebody like me who has seen the show, so I can like answer some things and pinpoint things, and then just seeing like your reaction as well, like just as a fresh like face into this whole entire verse. And I know we already have some people in our Discord who also have never seen the show, and they're going to be tagging along, watch along with us. So like anybody who's out there, like who stumbles across our episodes or anything like that, like hop in the Discord, post your notes, and we will be able to kind of read, any sort of notes that you have off on here, and just kind of watch along with us, because it's going to be just kind of like a fun rewatch podcast, and just kind of community building, and talking about a fandom that is extremely popular, and it's about to get a whole new makeover with the whole Avatar Studios and stuff like that.
Is it?
More shows, more movies. There's a Zuko movie coming out in 2024, 4, I think.
Because everybody gets their own movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they doing the Marvel thing where everybody needs their own prequel?
I don't think it's like much like Marvel, but it's kind of they're getting like we're getting some back history on some of the past avatars, which I think is gonna be super awesome. So we're gonna go back a little bit.
That I'd be interested in.
Because every avatar has a different life, they live different amount of years, and each one was like a different like water, earth, fire, air. So we'll get some cool stuff like that, and we get a lot of history in this show from some of the past avatars. But you don't get like a whole show's worth or a whole movie's worth. So I think that's gonna be super cool. I'm excited about that.
Interesting.
There was a note that I never caught before that Sokka mentioned the Midnight Sun Madness in this episode. Yeah, and I was just like, I never caught that before, but that definitely gives you the impression of like our world's north and south poles. Kind of gives you that allows the viewer to make the connection. Yeah.
Yeah, so like summertime, it'd just be daylight all the time, and I can see how that would drive someone nuts.
Yeah, exactly. And I never noticed that before, so I thought that was a cool little one-liner thing in there that they kind of added in just to give the viewer more things to relate to. So you're like, oh, okay, so these people are kind of down in this land where things are kind of either always daylight or always nighttime. I don't think we didn't see a flying bison this time, did we? I don't think. I think he was just
yeah, well, yeah, we saw him, but we didn't see him fly.
Yeah, he was swimming. He was swimming in this one, and yeah.
He was tired.
Yeah, and just coming out of 100-year frozen iceberg.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's another thing that I noticed as well, which isn't going to make much sense to you, but the ice navigation right at the beginning when they're going through like on their little boats before Aang comes out of the iceberg, it comes back into play down the road as a means of manhood for men of the tribe. So
navigating through the ice.
Yeah.
And, so Sokka isn't great at that, so he's not a man yet.
Yeah, exactly. And like I never noticed that because they never really mentioned. They do a thing down the road, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but like there's a thing down the road.
Better not.
But it just. I remembered that other episode, and I was like, "Oh, hey, this like particular part right at the beginning of this episode sets it up for." Kind of still showing that Sokka is a kid and not quite even though he's trying to be a leader and he's trying, he's been left here to be in charge of like the kids in the village and stuff as like the leader man of his tribe, but he's not quite there yet. And that
seems to me like he's feeling a lot of the same sort of pressure maybe that Zuko is feeling.
Yeah.
The honor and the responsibility. But nobody's really taking Sokka seriously.
Yeah. I mean, he's Sokka. Wait till you see some of the
He's kind of an ass, but he's trying.
Yep. Do you have any other points or anything like that?
No, we covered. One of my notes was penguin sledding. What the fuck? So, I think we've covered all of my notes.
There was, so when we first kind of see Uncle Iroh, he's playing, what was it? He's playing a game with his tiles and stuff, and it's not quite Pai Sho. There's a board game in this world of things called Pai Sho, which will come back into play later on. However, this game didn't quite look like Pai Sho to me. It was kind of just, he was like stacking the tiles or something.
Is there significance to the tiles that he was stacking?
Well, I don't know, kind of, because this is like right before Aang comes out of the iceberg with the light going up into the sky. But as he's placing the tiles down, the last tile that he placed down was the air symbol for the air nomads, like, because it's water, fire, earth, air that he's playing with these tiles and stuff. And
magical tiles.
Yeah, and I don't think it was like I don't think it has anything to do with like anything other than the creators of the show being like, look at this little nod. We're about to see an air nomad or whatever come out of here.
Not actual magical tiles.
But yeah, so it was just kind of another little tiny symbolization that I noticed, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I just saw like the little air symbol. Never noticed that before. Never paid much attention to what tiles he was placing down and playing on the games. But
I did notice the tiles. I didn't know what the symbols meant.
Yeah. So for somebody who's like first watching, you wouldn't be like, you wouldn't immediately make that connection. So it's just kind of like, I was just like, oh yeah, this is super, super cool. I'm getting to see all these little weird things that I think are just the creators just putting fun little kind of things in there.
Yeah, that is cool.
That it doesn't really do anything down the road. I don't think so. Yeah. Trying to think of if there was any other notes.
Yeah, that's a lot for one 20-minute episode.
Yeah, and so like, we'll see how long our podcast episodes actually end up being, this being the first one. But yeah, so each episode's about 20 minutes or so. If you want to follow along with us, just kind of hop on our Discord. I don't really know how to link that in here aside from telling you about it. Hop onto the social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, find the Cabbage Fellowship on there, message one of those pages and ask for the Discord link. For now, that'll work until we figure out a way to link. Or maybe I'll just put the link tree on all of those, and then the Discord will have its own link on the link tree. That makes more sense. Let's do that. But yeah, no, this was super fun. I'm glad we're launching a fun thing that I know a lot of people are kind of excited about. We've gotten some. What's that?
I hope so.
Yeah. No, I think you're gonna get a really fun adventure out of this. And we only have 3 seasons of Avatar: The Last Airbender, 4 seasons of
Korra. That's a lot shorter than I'd gotten the impression that it was.
Well, I think it was like 50, what did I say, like 52 episodes of Last Airbender.
So exactly a year of the podcast?
Yeah, and then 56 episodes of Legend of Korra, and then whatever at that point. So we have a lot of content that is already just pre-gamed and lined up, so it's fine.
And then we can watch a terrible movie.
And then we get to watch a terrible movie. Unless they put out a new show, then the movie will just get the back burner.
I'm gonna have to watch the movie.
Yeah, yeah. We can watch it even in between seasons or whatever. I don't care. Maybe we'll do like a mid-season break or something, and
you can finally see the whole thing.
And then I can see the whole thing. We'll stream it to Discord. Our fans and people.
Watch party.
We can do a watch party. Yeah, I've never actually done a Discord watch party, so
that would be fun.
I think that would be super fun. Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, I think that's gonna probably wrap up just episode 1. We're just a lot of introductions, a lot of new faces, more plot and stuff will get developed down the road. And I don't remember what the episode is named for next week's episode, but episode 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender, book 1, Water. Make sure you hop on there. And
book 1, but there are only 3 seasons. Does one of the elements get left out?
Yeah, we have book 1.
Rude.
We have water, earth, and fire.
Yeah. So just fuck the air nomads.
Yeah. Well, Aang's the last one, so. And then we get
just
into
the Avatar. It's not that important.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm Travis and
Steph,
And that's Steph. And we're the Cabbage Fellowship, and we're going to be talking about Avatar. So if you guys like Avatar, come hang out with us.
That'd be great.
Excellent. Follow all of our social media links, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.
Peace.